A good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. And I thought that I would jump in here and have a conversation that I think you guys will find very interesting. It has to do with NBA star Kevin Garnett. He's in the he's in the he's on the chopping block today in terms of people that are worth discussing. It looks to me like Kevin Garnett has some interesting off the court stuff going on with his divorce. His divorce is from his wife, Brandi, and it's a big money divorce as expected. You know, I mean, Garnett's made a lot of money in his career. I think he's cleared 300 million through the course of his career, which is a lot of money. And as expected, the divorce is huge. I mean, when you get money at that level, you're kind of a walking corporation at that point. You know, it's not like regular people stuff anymore. It becomes this monstrosity of a situation where you're talking about lots of money going across the table. So anyway, I'm going to give you guys my take on some of this because I think it's worth discussing. There's always teachable moments in life and interesting things we can learn from, and this is no exception. So before I get started, I want to say good morning to Nayusiri, sorry, Scott, Tori, Enrico, EC, let's see here, James, Rutherford. EC's already saying, sit your ass down. Oh, the judge says, sit your ass down. Oh, okay. I was talking about me. I was like, okay, I'm already sitting down. Corey Love, Lawrence K, what's going on? Yana, Elon, Creason, Emmy, Jerry, Brielle Knox, and I don't feel bad for him. They worship non-black women and they take their money. You know, hey, I don't know. Hey, okay, that's a, ooh, okay. But all right. So shout out your city, by the way. Please shout out your city. Shout out your city real quick. And make sure you share. If you're on Facebook, please share to your channels or YouTube. Please, if you can share the link, I'd appreciate that. But also, please hit the thumbs up button. Shout out your city and all that while I text the family, let them know that we're live. So give me 1 second. If you want to get a text notification when we go live, all you have to do is text the word Boyce to 31996. Text Boyce to 31996. Give me 1 second here. All right. Okay, so here we go. All right, so let me see. I see Long Beach. What's up, Long Beach? Who's that from Long Beach? Rome is from Long Beach. I'll be in California, Los Angeles next month for Harvest Festival Day. So if you want to join us, you can look at drboycelosangeles.com and learn more. I'll be in Chicago next weekend. So if you want to come and see me in Chicago, you can go to drboycechicago.com. So feel free to check out drboycechicago.com. I'll be doing a day-long investing seminar. We'll be in the room all day. And when you walk out of there, you will be incredibly happy. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves my live investing seminars because if you think I'm crazy online, just wait till you see me live. I think if you're not if you don't walk away transformed, then I'll give you all back right there on the spot. What's up? Hey Tracy from Huntsville, Peoria, Moreno Valley, Black-owned business, Vision of Promise out of LLC out of Louisville, Kentucky. DD, that makes me think about D1. D1 is one of my favorite rappers on this planet. My homeboy, a great businessman, a smart artist. He has a new album called God and Girls. So you should check it out. If that's your thing, or if conscious, intelligent hip hop artists are your thing, check out D1. It's on Spotify. I listened to a couple of songs. I really liked it. He's a smart young brother and a very good friend of mine. And I'm gonna try to get him to come to the All Black National Convention. I don't know if my people have had a conversation with him yet about it, but he should. I'd love to have him out there. And if you don't know about the All Black National Convention, it happens in Houston the weekend of September 27th. So Terrence, you live in Houston, so I'd love to see you out there. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com to get your passes. Allblacknationalconvention.com. Okay, so let's hop into this conversation about Kevin Garnett. I just sent out the text to the family, so people will be coming in. So here's the deal. Okay, so I'm going to read some of this to you. Based on Yahoo Sports. Yahoo Sports wrote a pretty comprehensive article about the Garnett situation, and it's interesting. It's very interesting. I'm not gonna say it's sad or it's good or bad. I would say it's interesting, and it's very expensive. That much I can say. It says Kevin Garnett and his estranged wife are still fighting over money in their divorce, but in the meantime, KG will be cutting her a hefty monthly check So this is all temporary until they file a permanent agreement. According to court documents obtained by the Blast, the former NBA star was ordered to pay Brandi Garnett $100,000 a month to cover both child and spousal support. The order is only in effect until they hammer out a permanent deal. As the Blast first reported, Brandi was seeking $46,000 a month for the children, for child support. They have 2 children. And also she wanted $146,000 for spousal support. So that's interesting, right? I don't know how common that is. It seems like she wanted more for her lifestyle than she needed for the kids. You guys can tell me what you think about that. I don't know what you think. I mean, first of all, let me ask you this: based on what I've told you, about $100,000 a month. Also considering how much money Kevin Garnett has made in his career, he's made over $300 million. Do you think that the $100,000 a month in child and spousal support is a reasonable number? Do you think that that number is fair? How do you feel about that? Give me your comments on that. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's insane? Okay, let me see. I see who's it? Igioma says that's too much. Sunlight says that's the price of a trophy wife. Yeah, them trophies ain't cheap. That's for damn sure. Those trophies are not cheap. Andrew says absurd. Creason says no. Gertha Harris. Okay, Gertha Harris is watching. Art McDonald, how you doing? I see you in there. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I guess it's just one of those things where it's like, there's a price, and you someone say you agree to it, so pay up. It is what it is, right? Let me see here. Bryant says no. King J says she's high. Let me see here. Super Mega says why she deserved that money. She wasn't with him shooting in the gym. Miss Wendy says if that's what she's accustomed to, then it's fair. But that's interesting. I don't know. So what do y'all think? I mean, do you think the fact that she's accustomed to that amount, it makes it a fair amount? Like if she's just used to that lifestyle, then she should get in the divorce what she had, in the lifestyle that she had when they were together. Do you think that that's a fair assessment? What do you all think? Okay, Mark Thomas is already saying no. Curtis says no, that's not fair. Well, I'll say this. It's interesting, right? It seems like you could expand that argument to a lot of areas. So you could say, well, he was accustomed to having sex with her 3 times a week when they were together. So so he should be able to maintain the lifestyle to which he was accustomed, right? Like, I mean, if we get into this, if I break up with you, my life should be the same as it was when we were together. Then it seems like you could take that argument to everything, right? Everything. I mean, when you're together, there are privileges that you get that you don't get when you're not together anymore, right? I mean, I'm sure, I hope the ladies would agree with me. Like, you ever had that where a man dumps you or whatever, and then he's trying to come back and get some, or he's trying to come back and get the TLC you were giving him before, and you're like, no, you get no privileges like that. I know you became accustomed to this. I know you claim some ownership over whatever it is that I did for you, the way I cooked your bacon in the morning, but those privileges now belong to a new man. They do not belong to you anymore. So that's your problem, right? I don't know. I'd love to see what you guys think about that. Well, let me keep reading here. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up button. And if you're on Facebook, please share this to your page so we can fight the deboosting algorithm. Deboosting is where there's 8,000 people on my personal page, and they only notify maybe 500 people when I go live. So if you could notify your friends and put something on your page, I would really appreciate that. Also on YouTube, if you guys can hit the thumbs up button, that helps. And don't forget, join us at blagenough.com. That's our new Facebook for Black people. If you haven't joined blagenough.com, please go to blagenough.com. That's sort of what we created in response to Facebook, and it's Black owned. We trademarked that name, so I hope you'll join it. If you can't spell it right, somebody who's a member of Blagenough, type it in the chat so other people can spell it. BLAGGENUF, blagenough.com. So feel free to join that. All right, so let's see here. In the new ruling, Brandi got $300,000 she was asking for, of which KG already paid $75,000 and an additional $225,000. Brandi filed for divorce earlier this year, so she wants the divorce. She wants the marriage to come to an end. She's the one walking away. I'd be curious to know what you all think. Do you think that it matters that she's the one asking for the divorce? It seems if you walk away from something, some would say if you walk away from something, then you have no right to act like a person owes you anything. You made the decision to end the marriage, because that's another complication of divorce, right? That sometimes, you may want to keep things together, but they may not want to keep things together. And sometimes it may be because, they don't feel you are an adequate partner, but sometimes it could be because they just done with you. They met somebody better. They decided to move on. They just, they don't like the way you, like early in the morning, remember that song, breakfast at your table, right? And she starts talking about how the juice that used to be so sweet, it ain't sweet no more. And all of a sudden, everything that you used to like, you used to like your eggs over easy and your toast cooked lightly. But now all of a sudden, everything that you used to like, you don't like anymore, right? And so suddenly they decide to walk away. And so the interesting thing about marriage, which I'm fully convinced that marriage is a legal and business contract. Marriage is a legal and business contract. It's not just an emotional thing. If it's all about, love and emotion and that's it, then you could just say, I love you. I'll be with you for life. Let's both just make an agreement before God and that's it. But when you make an agreement before God and the courts and the legal system, it becomes like a business. It becomes a contract, right? And as it becomes a contract, that means that you like any business, when you start any business with another person, there are risks that come with that business. There's the risk that this business decision could harm you financially, or there's the chance that it could benefit you financially, right? And so ultimately, the fact that you sign the contract with another person and they can decide to end the contract at your expense, that's a pretty heavy burden to carry, particularly if you are the person who's bringing the money to the table. And this is not a gender specific statement, because you've seen this happen publicly with people like Mary J. Blige. Remember, Mary J. Blige married the guy and didn't want to get rid of him. You had Jill Scott, who married the guy who was a regular dude, wasn't making a whole lot of money, and then suddenly he got used to the Jill Scott lifestyle. So suddenly he's saying, look, I've become accustomed to this lifestyle. I've become accustomed to using our money, not your money, our money, because we are the ones who are singing and making albums. These are our albums now, right? And I'm using our money and our albums to support my parents, right? So he literally put, I think, what was it, Jill Scott's ex was putting something in the divorce paper saying, look at all my expenses now. Look at all look at the lifestyle to which I've become accustomed. Look at the money that I have to spend every month to take care of my parents. That's your responsibility too. And Jill was like, hell no. We signed a prenup. We signed a prenup, and that's it. So take your broke ass home, right? And then there was what was it, Sherri Shepherd, right? You saw where Sherri Shepherd's they had a messy situation. I mean, Sherri, they agreed to get a surrogate to get pregnant and have a baby. And Sherri decided she didn't want to be married or stayed married. And she literally abandoned the marriage, abandoned the baby. She did all of that. Like she was looking a little bit like a deadbeat. I ain't gonna lie. If that was a man who did that, who got some girl pregnant and then did not want to take care of the baby, people would have probably reacted a little bit differently than they did, right? So I didn't really give a shit about what they were doing as adults. With those two, if they decide they don't want to be married, that's fine. But when you start screwing over the kids, that's when I start getting a little bit salty. I don't know about y'all, but I don't like that. I don't like the fact that this baby is coming into the world. He don't have no clue what's going on. He's a new baby. A child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind. So he don't know nothing about this weird, freaky deal y'all done made with a lady where y'all paying her to have a baby that she does not want. And now the baby's coming into the world. His mama don't want him. His surrogate mama don't want him. The only person that took care of that baby was the daddy. And as far as I'm concerned, if we consider a single mom to be a hero for taking care of kids that are abandoned, then a single father is a hero for taking care of kids that are abandoned. So even though I love my friend DL Hughley and others, I took a little bit of exception when DL was on with Sherri saying, oh, well, he was a sorry ass dude. He was a sorry ass dude. I'm like, well, what about the fact that she abandoned that poor baby? That poor baby, I'm sorry, that's some sorry ass shit right there. Seriously, you don't abandon no kids. Get over your shit. Grow the fuck up and realize the children are the ones who suffer when we can't get our shit right. The children are the ones who suffer when we make agreements that we can't stick with. It's the children who suffer when we spend more time fighting each other than we spend loving each other. So when you hurting the kids, that hurts me. That bothers me. So I want to speak up on behalf of that baby. But anyway, But it's no disrespect to Sherri Shepherd. I interviewed Sherri. She's a nice lady, but shit, I mean, come on, man, give me a break. Yeah, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button, share button, and subscribe button. Also, if you're on Facebook, please join us at Black Enough or sign up. Or actually, if you want to also get connected to us via email, you can go to blackmoney100.com, blackmoney100.com. If you sign up there, I have a free training I will give you right off the spot that will teach you how to buy your first share of stock. So if you're not an investor yet, you don't know how to invest, go to blackmoney100.com, bring your whole family, bring your cousin them. We want to get 1 million black people invested in the stock market. And what that's going to do is create at least probably $100 billion in wealth or more in one generation, maybe $1 trillion. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. If I could get 1 million black people to invest in the stock market, remember, I'm a financial scientist. I study this stuff. I know the data. I know it very well. If I got 1 million black people to invest in the stock market, that would probably create, actually that would create several trillion in wealth. Now that I think about it, because you got 1 million people, maybe not several trillion, but at least a few billion. How about that? Let's be modest here. All right, what's up, John Harris? John Harris is my homeboy from back in the day. I gotta say hi to John. Every time I see him, he's a good brother. All right, so let's keep going. Okay, so here's the deal with the situation with Garnett. He's been asked to pay $100,000 a month to his wife Brandi. Now, here's what's fascinating about this. This is what I thought was also a teachable moment for anybody that feels like a prenup is something that automatically protects you. Here's the thing. The two things about contracts, and I remember having a conversation with Damon Dash about this way back in the day. Damon was in the Black Business School for a little bit. He was working. We were co-teaching a class called Intelligent Boss Moves. You can still go see it at intelligentbossmoves.com. But anyway, one thing Dame brought up that I thought was really interesting was he talked about contracts and how contracts really don't mean anything by themselves. And I actually agree with that. He said contracts, number one, they have to be enforced, which means that people violate contracts all the time. If you get contracts and you're doing big business, you have to put aside money to go to court in case they don't do what they're supposed to do. Because a lot of times people will just violate a contract and be like, okay, sue me. What you gonna do? Sue me, right? A lot of people are like, oh, I can't sue you because lawyers cost a lot of money. So keep that in mind. The second thing about contracts is that contracts can sometimes create a false sense of security. Whether you talk about a marital contract, which creates the false sense of security that, oh, well, because we agreed, because we both signed this legal document, you have to be with me. You can't cheat on me. You have to stay with me forever. Well, that's just not true, right? Kevin Garnett's wife signed the contract, but now she's asking for a divorce, right? So a contract can make you think something's secure when it's really not secure. And on the flip side of that, Kevin had a prenup. So they've been married about 14 years. Before they got married, Kevin went out of his way to get a prenup. Now, 14 years ago, that was 2005. 2005 was several years after Garnett was a multi-millionaire. If you recall, go back to the 90s. I don't know if anybody remembers back in the 90s. Tell me yes or no if you remember this. If you don't say no. If you do, say yes. Kevin Garnett in the 90s got a mega deal back with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anybody remember when? I think it was Kevin McHale that signed him to this mega deal where he was making as much money then on that contract as players make now. Like, I don't know what the highest paid players in the NBA are right now. Let me see. Let me Google it real quick. Let me see here. Highest salaries in the NBA. Let me see. The highest salaries in the NBA. Okay, so they finally passed it up. Like Steph Curry's making $37 million a year. Good for him. LeBron's making $35 million. Garnett was making, I think, well over 20-something million dollars, which was just a shit ton of money back then. Nobody was making that kind of money. I mean, I think even guys like Jordan were making a little more than 10 million a year or something like that. Well, KG got this mega contract, and Sean is right. KG's the reason that they created the salary cap. Like even to this day, I think guys like Damian Leonard made 24 million last year. So ultimately, 20 million a year is still a lot of money, even 20-something years later. So if it's a lot of money now, imagine what it was in the 90s. It was like, oh my God, look at this contract. So when he signed that mega deal, the owners got pissed, and the owners all did a lockout on the players. They said, we're not all going to try to match this crazy amount of money. This is ridiculous. And so they had the lockout, and the players really got screwed. Like the owners won that battle. David Stern had them, working together in sync, unanimous on every vote, whereas the players were all over the place, and it became kind of a shit show, and the players lost, in my opinion. Now, fast forward that, so 7, 8 years later, Kevin marries Brandi. So he's already famous. He's already an NBA veteran. Kevin went to the NBA when I think he was 6 months old when he went to the NBA. He was still in diapers when he went to the NBA. Like I said, he was young, super young. Maybe not that. Maybe he's like 18, 19 years old, something like that. But he came out right out of high school, just like Kobe Bryant did. And he was already making all this money. So he marries Brandi, right? And he says, hey, I want to protect my wealth. I want to protect my money. So I want you to sign this prenup. Here, sign on the dotted line, and we can be in love forever. And I'm going to take care of you, girl. I got you in here for $1 million. You're going to get $1 million if we break up, but that's it. $1 million is a decent amount of money, don't you think? That's a lot of that. $1 million was a lot of money to you yesterday. So why wouldn't it be a lot of money to you, in the event that we get a divorce? But we're not going to get a divorce, right? Because everybody that signs a prenup, they always think they're going to be married forever. Everybody who gets married always thinks they're going to be married forever. But just know it's like half of y'all ain't going to make it, right? That's just a fact, right? It's like college. Like this fall, 100,000 Black people are going to send their children away to college and give, $100,000, $200,000 of their future family wealth to some big white university in exchange for the chance to get a degree. Not in exchange for a degree, but for the chance to get a degree. Half of those students are not going to graduate, but most of them will have student loans, right? So half of them are going to be really screwed because they're not going to graduate and they're going to have all the debt. And then out of the half that do graduate, half of them, statistically speaking, just based on the stats, half of the people that graduate will not be able to repay the student loans. So half won't graduate. Half of the half that graduate will not be able to repay. So 75% of the people who start college this fall, who commit $100,000, $200,000 of their family wealth to getting this degree, so you can maybe, luckily, if you're lucky, go work for some white man that pays you lots of money or something. I don't know what the goal is, right? But 75% of them are going to feel screwed, right? So same thing is true with marriage. You just know statistically that half of the marriages ain't gonna work, and even out of the ones that do work, a lot of these marriages, fake as hell. Like I don't know if anybody has ever seen like a fake or super fake marriage where the husband and the wife both have like a girlfriend or boyfriend on the side, but they just want to pretend like everything's perfect. So marriage is tough. Marriage is tough, and it's a big, big, big investment, right? And because it's tough and because it's a big investment, you got to protect your investments, right? You can protect to some extent with good contracts. Like Kevin, he signed the prenup. But prenups can be challenged. Brandi is challenging the prenup. Brandi is saying, fuck your prenup. Fuck you and your prenup. The prenup don't mean shit right now because we're in a different situation. In finance, we have a concept for that. It's called moral hazard. Moral hazard is kind of like, basically, it's like how people how people switch it up on you. Like maybe it's like you loan money to a cousin, and before you loan them the money, they're really nice to you and they're answering all your calls and they're really polite and they're promising you the world. But then after they get your money, you call them and ask them to pay you back, and they're like, man, what you want? Don't be calling me early in the morning. If you keep on bother me, you ain't gonna get nothing, right? The attitude just changes, right? Well, basically, this might be a moral hazard issue, right? Now that Brandi and Kevin don't love each other the way they used to, the way they swore they'd love each other forever the day they got married. Now that they are mortal enemies or close to it, or they definitely are, I imagine they're not the best of friends right now, incentives change. Agreements change. A lot of the things that they thought they wanted to do when they first got married are things they do not want to do now. So Brandi's going back and saying this prenup is no good. Why is she saying that? Well, there are conditions under which you can kill a prenup. A lot of conditions under which you can kill a prenup, especially if it's done in a way that's not, crystal, airtight, crystal clear, all these other things. So really, it's like you have to have a pre-analysis of your prenup. So you need a pre-prenup to make sure your prenup is right, so that when you actually do the nups, that the nups are actually good, right? So let me actually break some of that down. First of all, let me tell you why Brandi is saying that Kevin's prenup is no good. She's claiming that he agreed to fund some sort of joint account for the both of them, where he was going to put at least $12 million in it and give her half or something like that. She says he did not do that. She says that he let the money go. He didn't do what he was supposed to do, and that screws her. And now here's the thing, right? I mean, if it's more just about the money, if it's just about the money, then she could just say, give me 12 million, put 12 million in an account, let's split it and we're good, right? But no, that's not the big win here. That's not the big fish. The big fish is I invalidate the whole contract. Because you got one thing wrong, I can invalidate everything. You know, it reminds me of that movie with Chris Rock when he's called I Think I Love My Wife. I don't know if you remember that, where Chris Rock was looking for, there was a scene where he was looking for a reason to argue with his wife so he could really go out with his girlfriend or whoever the girl was, his kind of sort of girlfriend. Remember that? And he just comes home and he's like, chicken, you made chicken. I hate chicken. And she's like, I thought you liked chicken. But does it have to be chicken every day? Right. So he's making a big argument over chicken, and they're arguing over chicken, but it really ain't about the chicken, right? It's about the big bird, the big win at the end of the day that he's trying to get with the girlfriend, right? So the same thing is true here. She's arguing over the 12 million, but it really ain't about the 12 million. It's not about the account. It's about the fact that she's sitting there saying, you know, you done fucked up, don't you? You know you done fucked up, don't you? Right? Remember that Menace to Society, right? So basically she's saying, you know you done fucked up, don't you? Right? And because he allegedly, according to her and her lawyers, did not fund this account, that's their end to invalidate the whole agreement, in which case a lot of laws start to shift in her favor. So here's some conditions. Hit the thumbs up button. I'll give you guys some conditions under which a prenup is considered null and void. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the share button. Hit the subscribe button. If you're on Facebook, please share this to your page if you could, and also join us at blackenough.com because Facebook is going to ban me at some point. They don't like black people. So just people like black people like me. So maybe it's just me. Maybe they just don't. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, but join us at blackenough.com. Also, don't forget I'll be in Chicago next Sunday. You go to drboycechicago.com. I'll be in LA after that, drboycelosangeles.com. And then the All Black National Convention happens in September. That's allblacknationalconvention.com, allblacknationalconvention.com. So here are some conditions under which a prenup is invalid. Number one, if it's not a written agreement, it must be in writing to be enforceable. All contracts don't have to be in writing, but a prenup does. Two, not properly executed. Both parties must sign the prenup before the wedding in order for the agreement to be considered valid. So you cannot go and do a prenup and you know, after the fact and just sort of backdate it. You can't do that. Three, you were pressured. If it can be proven that your spouse pressured you into signing that prenup, ain't no judge going to honor that prenup. Four, you didn't read it. So if you get a prenup, make sure that your spouse reads the damn thing, because if they say I did not read it, then it can be invalid then. So it says here, if your spouse to be puts a bunch of papers in front of you, including a premarital agreement, and they ask you to sign them quickly, the premarital agreement may not be enforceable if you sign it without reading it. A lot of people sign contracts without reading them, especially if you talk about love. Love inspires us, but love also inspires us to be stupid sometimes. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Yes or no? Tell me if you confess right now that you've done dumb shit over love. I know I have. I've just, you know, you can't trust a big butt and a smile. You just, man, shoot. I would say I got tricked by somebody else, but then the truth is I tricked myself. All right. So number 5, no time for consideration. A prospective spouse entering into a premarital agreement must be given time to review it and think it over before signing it. If the groom hands the contract and a pen to the bride just before she says I do, the agreement is probably invalid. So you must give your potential spouse time to review the agreement. If you do not give them time to review, then it is not going to fly. 6, invalid provisions. Although a premarital agreement can cover just about any financial aspect of the parties' relationship, it cannot in any way modify the child support obligations that either spouse would have if the marriage should end in divorce. Any other provisions of the agreement that violate the law would also be invalid. It is possible, however, that the court would strike the illegal clauses and enforce the remainder of the agreement. So, for those of you who are out here balling, either making money, you know, or about to go make money, and you're going to become a big target, and you're going to have a bunch of people coming at you that want to be with you. Suddenly they think you're the most handsome man in the world when they think you got a little bit of money. When I got a little bit of money, I suddenly became more handsome. I don't know how it happened. It was very surprising to me. But suddenly the women that looked right past me were giving me googly eyes across the room, and I thought, like Bill DeVoe, I thought it was me, but it wasn't me. It was actually the fact that they maybe saw something there. I don't know, but I can smell a gold digger from a mile away, so that didn't faze me at all. However, here's the thing: in your prenup, even if you sign the prenup, you still have to pay your child support. You cannot get a prenup that says, I owe you nothing. I don't owe, you know, I'm gonna write you a check for 50K and it's a wrap. You can't do that. If the state says you have to pay to support your kids, then you're gonna have to support your kids, which is good. I mean, it's good. Who the hell wouldn't want to take care of their kids, right? So child support is a funny thing, right? And you know, you can't argue with the concept of child support. Like, you can't leave the kids in the projects just because you decide to move out. But I think what does become, I've seen a lot of stress for people who are upset, not so much about the amount, but for the fact that they feel that it's taxation without representation. They're upset over the fact that they're writing these big checks and they don't have any say in where the money goes. And so I think it's a matter of me, not so much me telling you what to do. It's a matter of me telling you to make sure you research to know what you're getting into, because you can't walk away from your child support. Also, you cannot put clauses in the contract that are not legal. So as much as some of the fellows might think this is fair, you cannot put something in there that's saying like, you must have sex with me once a week, right? I know that people do it. Let's just be real. People do that money for sex trade all the time. Happens all the time. Men who have more money get more ass. We know that, right? But you can't trade the ass for money. You can't do that. It doesn't work. Or whatever it is you want to put in the like, you can't. You know, I don't think you can put something in there like, you have to cook for me once a week. Like, you can't do things like that. So if you sign a prenup, you have to make sure it's solid and it's ironclad. Let me see. Number 7, false information. A premarital agreement is valid only if it is entered into after full disclosure by both parties. So you must fully disclose your income, your assets, and your liabilities. If one prospective spouse provides the other with information that is not true, the agreement is invalid. So that means that if you own $100,000 in Bitcoin and you decide you don't want to tell your spouse about the Bitcoin before you get married, and she finds out later, or he finds out later, then he could go back and say, this prenup is invalid because you own that Bitcoin and you told me you didn't have it, or you told me you had 10,000 in Bitcoin, but there was really 50,000. This kills the whole agreement, right? What else? Incomplete information. Failing to provide pertinent information is as bad as providing false information. Number 9, no independent counsel. Your potential spouse must have their own attorney review the document for them, because their separate interests are at stake. Both parties to a premarital contract should, at least in some states, and in some states must actually be represented by their own attorneys, or the agreement will not be enforced. So a good precaution is to make sure that they have their own lawyer, so when they sign the deal, they know what they're signing. And then number 10 is unconscionability. Let's see. It says it's true that you can agree to give up your right to inherit from your spouse, which you would otherwise be entitled to do upon your spouse's death, even if he or she left you out of a will. You can sign away your right to spousal support if you should end up in divorce court, even if your spouse makes 10 times as much money as you do. You can even agree that your spouse gets all of the property and you get all the bills, if that's what you want to do. But if the agreement is so grossly unfair that one party would face severe financial hardship, which is a very vague term, very vague and ambiguous. You got to watch out for those vague and ambiguous terms, because that leaves them up to the interpretation of the judge, right? What is severe? What is a financial hardship? What's a hardship to one person is just, life is expected for another, right? The court is unlikely to enforce the agreement if it's unconscionable. So basically, unconscionable contracts are generally found invalid, and premarital agreements are no exception. So don't think that because you got a prenup, everything's good, or because you have a prenup, everything's going to be great. I saw a lot of brothers on my Instagram. I put the post up on my Instagram. If you want to see good conversations, go follow us on Instagram. It's the real Boyce Watkins. It's really, my Instagram's not like anybody else. It's not like stupid stuff. It's like actual stuff where I'm asking you to think. And a lot of brothers were mad. And I thought it was interesting to kind of think it through and analyze it. And one of the things I concluded that I really believe to the core of my soul is that the best prenup you can have in a marriage is to invest in making sure that your marriage works. I'm not telling you to get married or not get married. I do believe that if other people pressure you to do something you don't want to do, then you should not do it. I know we have a society where everybody, you got to get married, you got to get married. Let's just be real. A lot of y'all know I have never got married. It doesn't mean I won't get married. I love that woman. It's going to happen. I'm just going to tell you, it's going to happen. But I wasn't letting anybody pressure me into it. Why? Well, because even when I was 23 years old, I was pretty damn smart and I could read. And I would read and I would observe and I watched and I was like, well, if marriage is so great, how come I'm seeing so many divorces? If marriage is so wonderful, how come I see people that look financially devastated after it's over with, emotionally drained? And so it didn't tell me that marriage was something that you shouldn't do. It told me that marriage is something that people don't think carefully enough about. It's not something where people prepare. Because to me, if you if you're in a situation when it's done, like Garnett is, I'm sure Garnett would have a lot of complaining to do if you asked him about the situation with his wife. I'm sure his wife would have a lot of complaining to do about him. So that would say that it would be hard for them to argue that, oh yeah, but still getting married was still the best decision I ever made. I doubt they would say that, right? So I would almost just say to you that if you're not going to do it, then don't let anybody pressure you to do it. But if you do it right. It's a business deal, a business contract. So as a business partner, you want to make sure, one, that you yourself have prepared yourself to be the best business partner you can be, whatever that means for your marriage. And then two, that you pick a business partner that can stick it out with you. Like New Edition used to say, tell me, baby, can you stand the rain? Because if you are used to walking through hurricanes and you marry somebody who can only live in the sunshine, who freaks out when a drop of rain comes out of the sky, then you will be in a situation where you feel financially fucked. And that's just the honest to God truth. So just like starting a business, you don't start a business with somebody who isn't committed to growing that business. You don't want to play on a basketball team with a player who wimps out every time the score gets close or every time the team gets behind. Same thing is true with the game of life. You don't pick a teammate who don't know how to play or who doesn't have the guts to fight through tough situations and adversity, right? Or at least if you a punk ass who gives up too easily, at least pick another punk ass who gives up too easily. But I would almost argue that you're probably wasting your time trying to do marriage. Marriage is not for soft people. It's not for the weak-hearted. I watch my parents. My parents are celebrating their 45th wedding anniversary in October. 45 years. I saw my parents through the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010s, and I watched them grow together. I watched them submit to each other. I watched them endure things that would have caused divorce in most families. I watched them remain consistent with each other. I watched them go ride or die for each other. I watched them fight through the difficulty and the agony. I watched them do a whole lot of shit that most people would not do. I watched them do a whole lot of stuff to stay together that most people would not do. So everybody says, oh, I want that romantic happily ever after like my grandparents had. Well, a lot of y'all ain't even about that life. A lot of y'all ain't about that life. So just be honest with yourself. Whatever it is, just be honest. And if you ain't about that life, then don't be about that life. But if you are about it, then be about it. If you're going to get married, then make sure the shit works. If you're going to get married, go study, learn how to stay married and find a partner who will do the same. Read a book about it. There's books out here on how to stay married. There's books, there's counselors and therapists out here that can help you fix your problems. But don't come into the situation when you ain't ready for it. It's like me right now. I'm training for that marathon. If I'm not ready to go through some pain to get to run 26.2 miles, then I need to just sit my fat ass down and shut the fuck up. I shouldn't even be out there unless I am mentally prepared to go through a kind of hell that I have never experienced in my life. Right. So just, I'm not saying marriage is hell. I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying that you're going to run into some difficulties. And you got to be ready for that. OK, so given that that's the most important investment you'll ever make in your life, you want to research all your investments before you make them, because marriage is one of those things where it can make your life wonderful and great and extraordinary, or it's one of those things that can ruin your life and kill you. I've seen people die because they married the wrong person. And when I say die, this ain't figurative. This is literal. I'm talking about literally dead, cold body, 6 feet underground, dead with 2 young kids. I've seen that happen to people that I know. So if you do it, just make sure you're ready. Make sure you do your homework. Make sure you protect your investment. That's what I'm saying to you. I'm not telling you whether you should get married or not. I'm just telling you, whatever the fuck you do, do it right. do it right. Go 100 with it, and don't let anybody talk you out of that. All right. So anyway, that's it. Hey, Rebecca, good to see you. Rebecca is a brilliant accountant out of DC. Very smart black lady. I have a lot of respect for Rebecca. All right. So please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Also, if you're interested in things like love and relationships, I believe black love is one of the most important things in the world. We actually made a movie. We have a film division, Boyce Watkins Films. I talked to you all about building. Well, it would be stupid for me to talk about building if I wasn't building anything. So we actually have a film distribution company called Boyce Watkins Films, and one of our latest projects is called The Black Love Blueprint. And I would love it if you would at least go and check out the trailer at theblackloveblueprint.com. That's theblackloveblueprint.com. It was directed by Dorian Chandler out of New York, best young director I've ever seen. Executive produced by S.T. Brown. S.T. She used to be one of the bosses at Ebony Magazine. I don't know exactly what she is doing right now, but she's into a lot of real amazing stuff. And also, reminder, I'll be in Chicago next weekend. So if you want to come to the investment seminar in Chicago, you can go to drboycechicago.com. Our masterclass meets every week. That's drboycemasterclass.com. We have our financial workbooks for children, which you guys have seen. I have one around here somewhere. Feel free to go check that out at financialworkbooks.com. That's financialworkbooks.com. So I mentioned all these things because these are the things we have going on. We have all the tools that will help you to do whatever it is you want to do. And I'd love to have the honor of being one of your teachers because I think I'm damn good at what I do. In fact, I'm not. I don't think I know I am. Anyway, but I know I love you guys and I appreciate you very, very much. And I will see you all soon. So have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon. Be good. Peace.